Right. So growing up, I wanted one thing, and that was to be liked, to fit in. And I think chasing that really led to to a reality where I didn't fit in, where I wasn't necessarily liked. See, the thing is that wanting to get, God, I can't talk. Wanting to fit in is gonna keep you from really finding your crowd. Because what I would do is I would see a group of people that I'd want to be friends with, right? And I'd try to fit in with them because I thought they were cool, or they played soccer or whatever, they were good at Fortnite maybe. But I had nothing really to talk about with them because, well, I think one thing that's really held me back, is if I want something, then I overthink about it. Like for instance, right? If I have a crush on a girl, and to this day, if I have a crush on a girl, I'll just mark it off. Like I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like no need to worry about her anymore. And so I try not to get, you know, into a girl like that I don't really know, because it's just never gonna work out. Because okay, yeah, getting to the point, right? If I have a crush on a girl, then all I can think about is wanting them to like me and blah blah blah, and I don't really like them for them. All I like is that they're attractive. I see her and I'm like, wow, she is so pretty. Or maybe I'll have an interaction with her and she's really nice and I'm like, wow, she's so nice and pretty and blah blah blah. But then it leaves me every time I interact with them, I'm like, gosh, what do I say to get her to like me? Maybe she already likes me, right? Maybe it's even the same things happening to her. Probably not, but you never know. But I would never know because all I do is get in my head and think about it, and I'll be plain. I'll be plain. And that gets me to my point. The only way to fit in is to fit out, to stand out, right? If I, and I think that's why the stereotypical nice guy or whatever, I wouldn't call myself that, but but I think that's why those type of guys, like, they never find love or they never find a relationship. It's not necessarily because, oh, women want the bad guy. Some women do, but it's because they're not interesting. They're nice. They say what they think other people want to hear, but they don't say anything specifically interesting. Right? So, yeah, that's kind of my point, is that if you're not yourself, you'll never find a crowd of people that genuinely wants to hear what you have to say. And you'll never be able to say what you really want to say either. So it just leaves a bad taste in both parties' mouths. Yeah. And so yeah, growing up, I would really struggle with this. And like I always considered myself a hopeless romantic. And it's honestly kind of true to this day, but it's taken a lot to get to a point where I'm like, I mean, yeah, I don't really care what other people think of me. Like, I don't, because so many people are just bad people. First of all, like, 90% of the people you probably are looking at and you're like, oh, they're so cool and I want to be like them, or I want them to like me, blah blah blah. 90% of them, if you go meet them, they're gonna not be a good person. Like, if you really got to know them, at least, you know, it's not gonna be the type of person that you would probably like to hang out with. Simply. So yeah, and I think the first thing that really came into fruition to help me notice that was working at my first job in customer service. And I just really realized, like, wow, people are so annoying. And like, I don't say that in a mean way. I mean, like, it's just, it's wow. I mean, if you've ever worked in customer service, you probably 100% understand what I'm talking about. But yeah. So then, and also during that time, I was friends with a lot of my coworkers, and I was a host at a restaurant. So most of my coworkers were women, and I was just friends with them because they were in my proximity, which is kind of how I've always made all my friends. I'd say probably most people make all their friends. Is if you're hanging out with people a lot, you become friends with them. And normally in school, you know, you have the choice to pick between everyone in your class. And so I would always try to be friends with guys because I was the guy. And the pretty girls, of course, I would be scared of them. But yeah, so then working at that job and being friends with all those girls, I mean, it wasn't like beforehand. I was thinking like, wow, like, women aren't people. But but during that time, it really helped me realize, like, wow, they're fuck, I can't talk. They're literally just like me, like, just like me. You know, just talking to them, talking to them like I'd talk to the camera, or like whatever, you know. Just they'd like me. Well, they'd like me if they're my person, and a lot of them were. I will, like, I mean, maybe not outside of work. It wasn't like we'd be hanging out all the time, or like, you know, like they'd be my best friend. But a lot of them were just people I enjoyed talking to. I had stuff in common with, you know, I had work in common with them to talk about. And then a lot of them I would get to know deeper than that. And we'd have other stuff to talk about, like music, or I don't know, school, whatever. And yeah, so that whole experience of having a job really helped me realize, like, just be yourself. Just be, because, right, whenever, even probably when I'm gonna look back at this video, at this recording, I'm gonna be like, wow, like, I've I've a very big, what's the name of it, inferiority complex, I suppose. Or what's that? I think it's a syndrome. It's like, I don't know. Someone watching, well, I don't know how many people watch this, but if they're already watching this, you'll probably know the name of it. I know for a fact I'm not gonna like how looking at. But yeah, you'll probably know the name. It's like where you just don't feel like you fit in. You know, maybe other people, you know, tell you people like you or whatever. Oh god, I have it on the tip of my tongue. But like, for instance, right, every friend I've ever had, deep in my heart, I've never felt like they truly actually liked me. I felt like they kind of viewed me as a joke almost. And whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's just kind of how I subconsciously feel. And so it's led me to just kind of enjoy my own solace. Yeah. And a big part of it comes from watching like recordings of myself and realizing, like, wow, my mannerisms are so weird. The way I talk is really weird. Just, I don't, I probably wouldn't like myself, to be honest. Yeah. And it sucks. Yeah, it does. But I still be myself, because that's all I can do at the end of the day, really. But yeah, I say all of this just to get the point out that you can never truly be liked. You can never truly be yourself without standing out, without being unique. I'm a very unique person. Everyone's their own very unique person. And I'd say there's probably a good chance that everyone just like me sees himself on camera and they go, wow, like I'm really weird. And other people will see them and think nothing of it. That's just who they are. And it's not a bad thing. And maybe it is. Maybe, maybe it actually is a bad thing. And, that's why I have that subconscious feeling where it's like, people think I'm a joke, because every time I watch that video of me, I'm like, or I watch any video of me, I'm like, wow, I'm just a goofy dude. Like, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to be with me. But then there's that chance there, or maybe reality, I don't know. There are probably women out there that look at me and say, like, I like him, like I like the way he talks, or whatever. The stuff I don't like about myself, they like about me. But you are yourself at the end of the day. So no matter what, the only way to get them to like that is to show it. And say, for example, the biggest example of this I can give is Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Is he a good politician? My answer will probably get this video demonetized, even though I'm not monetized. But anyways, he's a very polarizing figure. Doesn't say much of substance. Doesn't really do anything except negative for the world. And yet, he has a cult-like following. So many people love him. Why? Because he says outlandish stuff. He gives people something to be entertained by, to look up to even. And that's why, in the same way, liberals and Democrats fail to make a movement that's anywhere near as powerful as his. Not because they're worse than him, although they're not much better. They don't make anything of value. They don't stand out. They fit in. They fit in with the crowd. They say, oh, let's try to be in the middle, get more Republican voters, and we'll still have the left-wing voters. And they try to just stand in the middle so that they can get everyone. And it doesn't work, because they stand on no values. They have no spine. They provide nothing of substance. They provide no hope. And so you have a very powerful movement, albeit not a good movement, but a very powerful movement that's taken the minds of so many people, versus something that provides nothing, and that no one actually supports with their heart, because there's no heart to give to it. There's no heart in it. And so Donald Trump, while he may not be liked by everyone, while in fact he is hated by a lot of people, he is loved by a lot of people. And you may be like, well, I want everyone to like me. But everyone's not going to like you in the first place. Right? Liberals, for example. I hate liberals. I hate liberals. I said that with my southern accent. Make me sound like a Trump supporter. But I hate liberals because they stand on nothing. They stand on nothing. I hate them because they fit in. That is why I hate them. So people are gonna hate you regardless, even if you try to be like everyone else, if you try to be nice to everyone or play all sides. People are gonna hate you for that. People are gonna hate you because you seem like an NPC. People are gonna hate you just for whatever reason. They don't like the way you look, or they're jealous of the way you look, or whatever. So go ahead and be yourself, and at least you'll find a crowd to have your back. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. My name's Dawson. And yeah.